weather, what are some of the things that you could observe and write about after our weather walk?
The thermometer was going like zoom, zoom, zoom. That means it was like really windy, and if it was just going like this.
Before I took them out, because we hadn't been on a weather walk in a while, I reminded them of what is weather. What are the sorts of things you should be looking for when we go on a weather walk?
What do we use to measure whether it's hot or cold? Sarah? So you can use a thermometer. How do we know that it is spring? Were flowers growing in the winter?
No.
Why not?
Because it's cold.
Sam?
And animals that hibernate are coming out.
That we might see.
I know.
Haven't seen it all winter, but we might see it even right now on our weather walk.
Yes. There are two things. One, when I'm in every Tuesday after school, we do science things and we planted peas, and that's a vegetable. And the second thing is peas are vegetables.
That's true.
I saw a spider about this big jacket.
I also want you looking for evidence that it's spring. If your little brother or sister asked you tonight, do you think it's spring?
No.
I want you to write in your journal, what are the things that tell you it's definitely spring? How do we know, and how could you prove it?
My first graders went on a weather walk, and they went on plenty of weather walks at the beginning of the schoolyard when we were doing the air and weather kit. So we went on weather walks almost every week. They went outside, we used a thermometer and an anemometer. We also just made observations using our senses. And I like to revisit our weather journals every so often during the school year to remind them how to make good observations.
There's a little gust.
Where were the birds in winter, do you think?
In their nest hiding. Richard, I just
Do you think any of the birds left Massachusetts for the winter? Where did they go?
They fly south.
They fly south. We also always review expectations for behavior outside. So when we haven't looked at our weather journals in a while, it's important to remind the kids what we're looking for when we go outside. So we talked about what is weather, what are the kinds of things you might notice and write down. We also talked about things that might be different because we did so many weather observations in the fall, we did a couple in the winter, but it was a little bit different going out in spring. So we looked for signs of spring out in the schoolyard, things that were different from the observations that we made earlier in the school year. With the weather walk, the children can walk around a little bit, they can move to different parts of the schoolyard, they're sharing the weather tools of the thermometer and the anemometer. Sometimes we will share our observations outside, other times I find if the kids are getting a little bit unfocused, I'll bring them back inside and then we'll share the observations that we made.